In advance of their Game 1 matchup with the Memphis Grizzlies, the Portland Trail Blazers had several statements up in the locker room, including one that read, "We don't lose to Spanish players." I'm Jim Basketball. Apparently they do, because Marc Gasol helped lead the Grizz to a relatively easy win in Game 1. Gasol had 15 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, 3 blocks in that 100-86 victory. We are joined on the phone by Baxter Holmes, who covers the NBA for ESPN. And Baxter, you know, Terry Stotts, the Blazers coach, said this was a lighthearted thing. There were other statements that were up in the locker room. This is a Portland team, by the way, that had the very first Spanish player in the NBA in the mid-'80s. They've also had the likes of Rudy Fernandez, Sergio Rodriguez, and even Victor Claver this season. So what do you suppose the mindset was to even have a statement like that up in the locker room?
Well, I think part of it is the fact that they just kind of manhandled by the Grizzlies. Also, at the year, a team obviously led by a dominant Spaniard, and if anything, you know, maybe added a little motivation, as Stott said, to try to, you know, going against a guy like that. But obviously, you know, it hasn't worked. He's had their way with them throughout the season, and obviously in Game 1 of the series.
Yeah, Bino Udrih, by the way, gave him 20 points as well in that Game 1 victory. I mentioned Gasol's numbers, and he's been a terrific player, not only against the Blazers, but against all the NBA. When he hears about something like that, do you suppose a player of that caliber even gets more motivation, or is just the playoffs enough for him?
I think the playoffs are probably enough for him. As my colleague Michael Wallace reported today, Gasol was asked about it and didn't even entertain it. He just kind of took the high road. I think a reporter continued to ask him about it, and he said, "Look, I'm not going to give you the answer you're looking for, so it's not even worth bothering it." You know, he's keeping his mind above this right now. I think the motivation from advancing in this series is all he needs.
Yeah, one of the Portland statements in the locker room as well is, "Nobody can beat us 8 times in 1 year." Apparently, the Grizzlies are well on their way after taking Game 1. Baxter Holmes covers the NBA for ESPN. Baxter, thanks for the insight.
Pleasure.
Don't forget to keep up with all the highlights from this series, the Grizz and Blazers, as well as all the NBA playoffs, by keeping it locked to the NBA page right here on ESPN.com. I'm Jim Basketball.